The Haunting of Black Pine. It started with the whispers, subtle at first, like the wind sifting through dead branches, but unmistakable. Jess hadn't expected much from the remote cabin in Black Pine, just a weekend away from the noise and pressure of the city. But as she stood on the porch, the trees surrounding her felt closer, suffocating, like a watchful crowd holding its breath. The cabin, though rustic and untouched by time, exuded a cold stillness. Jess tried to shake off the unease as she unloaded her bags, but the feeling crawled up her spine like a wet, writhing thing. The others, Becky, Travis, and Sam, hadn't arrived yet, and dusk was fast approaching. By nightfall, her friends arrived, bringing laughter and beers. Jess felt her nerves ease as the cabin filled with conversation and the crackle of the fire. But amid the laughter, Jess kept catching flickers in the dark, movements in the corner of her eye beyond the windows. Every time she looked, nothing was there. As the night deepened, Sam suggested they hike to the old mining site nearby. Just a short walk. They say it's haunted, but no one's disappeared in years. The path was narrow, twisting through thick pines that seemed to lean in, whispering secrets. Jess stayed close to the others, her heart pounding faster with each step. Halfway to the mine, Becky stopped. "Did you hear that?" she whispered. A low rustling echoed from the trees, followed by a heavy thud. Travis aimed his flashlight, but the beam was swallowed by the blackness. The rustling grew louder, accompanied by the unmistakable scent of rot. "Probably just a deer," Sam muttered, but his voice wavered. Then came the scream, a high-pitched, distorted wail that didn't sound human. It was wrong, like a woman screaming underwater. Jess's blood turned to ice as something massive moved between the trees, just beyond their sight. Whatever it was circling them. "Run," Jess whispered, but it was already too late. Becky bolted, crashing through the underbrush. Travis shouted after her, but the words barely left his mouth before something dark and massive lunged from the trees. It moved too quickly to be seen clearly, but Jess caught the gleam of yellowed teeth as it collided with Becky, knocking her into the dirt. Her scream was cut short, replaced by a sickening crack. Jess froze in horror as Becky's body was dragged into the shadows by a creature too fast, too large to comprehend. It was humanoid, but twisted. Long limbs, gaunt face, eyes burning red. Skinwalker. Travis grabbed Jess by the arm. "We have to get back to the cabin!" His voice was shaking, eyes wide with terror. The three of them ran, stumbling through the forest as the thing pursued. Its breath was heavy and wet, the smell of blood and decay following close behind. The creature was fast, faster than anything should be. Jess didn't dare look back. The memory of Becky's broken body burned into her mind. They reached the cabin, slamming the door behind them. Sam rushed to lock the windows while Travis leaned against the door, panting, eyes darting to the shadows outside. It killed her," Sam stammered. "It's out there. It's waiting." The silence returned, thick and oppressive. Minutes passed like hours. Suddenly, a soft knock echoed from the door. "Let me in," Becky's voice. Soft, fragile, but unmistakable. Jess felt her stomach drop. No, it couldn't be. "Please, it's so cold," the voice continued. It was closer now, right at the door, and it was wrong. The tone was too hollow, too forced. Jess glanced at Travis. His face had drained of color. He shook his head slowly, backing away from the door as the knocking grew more insistent. "Guys, open up. I'm hurt," the voice pleaded, followed by a soft scraping sound against the wood. "Please, it hurts." Jess's heart hammered in her chest. She knew what it was now. The legends were true. The skinwalker was imitating Becky, trying to lure them outside. Suddenly, Travis screamed and backed away from the window. Outside, a figure stood in the darkness, skin stretched tight over long, twisted limbs. It was grinning, Becky's voice still spilling from its mouth in a sick, mocking mimicry. Jess grabbed a fire poker, her hands trembling. The door began to shake violently, wood splintering under the creature's weight. The thing outside let out a low growl, the sound vibrating through the walls. Then, the door gave way. In an instant, it was inside, towering over them. Its face was a grotesque parody of humanity, eyes gleaming with hunger. Jess swung the poker with all her strength, but the creature barely flinched, its long fingers reaching for her. Sam screamed as the thing tore into him. Jess stumbled back, her vision swimming with terror. Travis tried to fight, but it was no use. The skinwalker was too strong, too fast. With unnatural grace, it tearing through flesh and bone like paper. In a matter of time, silence resumed. Death lingered.